What's good, my fellow GeoGeeks and MetaMappers? Spatial Ninja here, bringing you this week in MetaMapping. Today is March 11th, 2023. Now, I just got back from the Esri Developers Summit, which is an annual conference that Esri hosts for the developer community. So all sorts of GIS professionals and developers who develop everything from Python code to JavaScript applications to other native apps were there in attendance, learning what is new with Esri and the developer tools. So I had a lot of great conversations, learned a lot, saw a lot of great new products that were released, as well as new APIs and SDKs. So it was a really good event. Now I wanted to play this video for you all, which was played at the beginning of the plenary on the first day.
Cameras is big.
When?
Yeah.
Take one.
And action.
If I had to make a Hollywood movie about being a developer, I don't think it could fit into one genre.
Would be probably a comedy movie.
It's going to be a drama, a lot of ups and downs, and I would love Lady Gaga to play me.
It would probably be like a buddy cop action comedy with me and The Rock.
Some sort of apocalypse scenario that's averted by the creation of some sort of advanced geospatial tool.
If Indiana Jones was a developer, how much better would that movie be? Creating some better apps for like field data collection. Maybe then he wouldn't have stumbled upon that giant like rolling stone that almost squished him.
Being a developer is definitely the best role.
Developers make things happen. They take a vision and they bring it to life.
It's the ability to dive in and understand everything about a product.
I think developers do really well at thinking outside the box.
They see beyond, they understand what is really needed, and they are very creative about how to build a solution.
GIS developers are kind of artists. Applications sometimes could be something that your users are going to talk about and really love using.
They get to invent. And I think as more people become accustomed to geospatial technology being just infused everywhere, the role of the developer will be to constantly think about what's new, beyond that bleeding edge.
To know that an application that I'm involved in is serving different needs and that those needs can have a great impact on humanity at large, I think that's incredible.
The problems you're solving are improving the lives of people on this planet. So it's just motivating to be a GIS developer.
Every piece of software they're creating is going to help somebody right now or maybe in the future.
Whether you're making a movie or whether you're making software, you're building it for the audience.
It's not so much the ending, but what the ending evokes in the audience. And when you see that our users are really happy to be using this new functionality that you built, it's such a wonderful feeling.
I love what I do. There isn't anything else that I could do that would bring me the joy that geospatial application development does.
When the project is done and out and is in user's hand, they can use it and just make a difference in the world would be a very good ending.
So it would end with this like really nice sunshiny scene, like everyone's happy and we're saving the company money and we are working better and smarter and we're able to take maps wherever we need them. And then it's like this breakthrough and then Lady Gaga and everyone dances and the developer is like this hero and then the song comes in.
That's a wrap.
All right, so I just thought that was a really cool and inspiring video and neat way to kick off the opening plenary of Dev Summit. And it really got me thinking about, how important developers are today and really going forward. And how this may play into this idea of AI and whether or not AI is going to kind of take over and potentially put normal GIS professionals out of business, or replace them, or even replace developers. So I've got some articles here that talk a little bit about AI and kind of the role in GeoAI. And we've also got some articles today talking about some of the new updates to applications and APIs and SDKs that were also shown and released at the Developer Summit. So let's go ahead and jump into our articles for the week. First one here comes from GeoWeek News. Is the geospatial industry going to be affected by the current AI boom? So I'm sure everybody has seen ChatGPT and kind of that phenomenon over the last few weeks and how it's really taken off. I've personally used it. I think it's very interesting. For me, it just seems like a Google search on steroids. The ability to retrieve information back, the ability to get answers. It seems like that next evolution of artificial intelligence or AI. But will AI start to displace current applications or even current jobs? So it's an interesting thing to consider whether or not AI will start to displace some of us in the future. But as we get into the article here, AI is not a new thing, right? I mean, artificial intelligence has been being developed for the last 50 years. It's really required lots of data in order for AI to be trained, and it's also required computing power in order for AI to analyze all that data, get smart enough, and then be able to have that compute power to respond quickly. But it seems like the buzz now is that it's kind of new, it's exciting, it's that new buzzword, and we're starting to see more and more of these consumer-focused AI models hitting the market over the last year. So it seems like AI is new, but in reality, AI has been around for quite a long time. They talk a little bit more about ChatGPT and what it is and what it does. And here, the geospatial and GIS industries have long leaned on the power of AI. Again, it's not anything necessarily new, but AI has played a strong role in the GIS world for quite some time. It's most commonly been used in things like classification, segmentation, prediction, which are those kind of common forms of AI that we see in our day-to-day spatial analysis tools. So, as it pertains to AI in the GIS world, as this article states, right, we've kind of seen it already within the GIS space through some of these different tools over time. Where I see AI really coming into play is, again, kind of proving on that idea of Google search engine on steroids. Having that ability to use something like an Alexa or a Siri or a search engine to return information very, very quickly and scour through all that data on the internet. And the answers that will be returned are just going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. So how this may apply for like the GIS world, where you think you have like a spatial question, or you want to know the answer to a GIS question, instead of maybe pulling in this layer into your map and this layer into your map, you could say, what is the population growth rate of this county forecasted for the next, 5 years with this influencing factor and this, and then have that AI return that answer for you. So what may be happening behind the scenes is spatial analysis is being done. It's retrieving that data over the internet, and it's doing all of that analysis very quickly behind the scenes to return that particular answer. I could see more ChatGPT type of applications coming out for coders and developers. I'm not a big Python coder. I know a little bit, but if I want to be able to code something in Python, imagine being able to ask something like ChatGPT to generate a Python script for you to be able to do some sort of GIS function. I think that's really interesting, making it easier for folks to code, making it easier for folks to get code snippets. But all of that information and those Python codes and how to do something still need to be trained into the AI. So that kind of brings me to, will AI ever start to replace us as GIS professionals? I think it's very possible. I think there are some kind of common things that people want to do with maps, like map creation, that traditionally require a cartographer, require someone on the GIS side to create a map. I could definitely see a day and age where you go into a ChatGPT type of application and you say, make me a map of X, Y, and Z, and it will automatically generate a good looking cartographic map that shows you the data and the information that you asked that application to present back to you. So taking away a little bit of that map making skill set from the GIS professional. But at the end of the day, you still need to train that AI what a good map looks like, right? You have to put in the work to train those models. So at least for the foreseeable future, there's still going to be a need for the GIS professional to help feed these models so they get smarter and smarter over time. Plus, there's going to be still a very long period of QA/QC. Even if you ask the ChatGPT to get you a Python script, it may not be accurate, right? You still need to check the syntax. You still need to verify that code. Same thing if you ask ChatGPT to make you a map. It may not be as accurate as it will one day in the future. Labels may be offset, things may be overlapping, things like that, where you still need, again, a human to be able to QA/QC that thing that is returned from the AI. But it's definitely an interesting space and something to monitor. If you guys have ideas and ways that you think ChatGPT will interplay with the GIS world or AI in general, be sure to comment those below the video. So jumping into a few more of our articles this week. From GIS Cafe and Maxar, new satellite imagery of earthquakes, aftermath in Turkey and Syria. So this article's, and what Maxar has been doing has actually been putting together some of these imagery products for a few weeks now, following the earthquake. But it's devastating to think that the earthquake occurred and all the destruction that this earthquake has created. But in terms of being able to, locate people, being able to perform damage assessments, previously the amount of time that it would take to get satellite imagery like this to understand destruction or where collapsed buildings are would take quite a bit of time. But now, the day and age that we're in now, to be able to deploy drones or satellites to collect this information, and not only collect this information, but use something like AI machine learning to do object detection to understand, if a building has collapsed or if there's damage there, so that when you do send crews out, they're not just walking up and down the streets, but they're going to specific buildings based off of them already being told that a building is damaged from looking at imagery like this. So this is, a good kind of case in point where AI, and specifically machine learning and object detection, will actually provide good value and benefits and help in something like a damage assessment. Moving on to our next article here. This one comes from the Esri blog. North Carolina maps internet deserts to bring broadband to rural counties. So the State Broadband Office of North Carolina has mapped internet deserts to prioritize federal funds from the Internet for All initiative, to bring modern connections to rural counties. So what they've done is they've started to map what they're calling the digital divide to understand where internet is and where internet isn't, or where there is poor broadband speeds in some of these rural communities. Essentially, the government has started to put out funding and grants to help subsidize the build out of broadband networks into these rural areas. But in order to understand, where there is lack of internet, you need to actually map it. So you need to know where infrastructure is or infrastructure isn't. And so there's a lot of efforts going on by the state agencies to start to map out broadband. We can see here from the FCC reported in 2020 that 85% of Americans have access to broadband, but that figure is disputed by many with slow and non-existent connections. I've got internet, I've got good internet, but I know a lot of folks across the US, as soon as COVID hit and they had to work from home, do schooling from home, that's when you really saw the lack of internet or just poor speeds, especially when everybody was getting on the internet at the same time. So to help with this digital divide, White House and Congress has put forth $65 billion for broadband development through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So this will provide a ton of money to be able to improve the broadband network across the U.S., especially in those rural communities. And here we can see some of the mapping applications that counties and states have started to put together, using something like speedtest.com to understand your location and whether or not you've got adequate broadband or not. From the ArcGIS blog, extending and automating the ArcGIS system. So this was one theme that I saw quite a bit at Dev Summit, and it was all about how to harden the ArcGIS Enterprise system as kind of this enterprise-grade GIS. And so in this particular blog, they talk about different things that you can do with the ArcGIS Enterprise system, extending it and connecting to different data sources within the business, cloud data sources, enterprise data stores, being able to integrate service webhooks into workflows. As something happens, then doing something else. So let's say new data gets edited into the GIS and you want to send a trigger or an email to somebody, or you want to kick off another process in another business system. As soon as you make that map edit or that map data changes, you can use webhooks to integrate ArcGIS into these other systems and workflows. There was a lot of sessions at Developer Summit specifically around the Python and ArcPy and the ArcGIS API for Python, as well as notebooks, and how to automate data input, data creation, data updating, as well as the ability to automatically publish web services, append to a web service or delete data in a web service using the ArcGIS API for Python or ArcGIS notebooks. So all sorts of ways to kind of automate that data management in QA/QC. Again, just streamlining and automating workflows around an enterprise GIS, as well as automation of DevOps. So the ability to stand up servers and shut down servers. And I think a lot of this is going to advance more and more as ArcGIS runs on things like Kubernetes, where you want to stand up a container with a little ArcGIS server in it, do some processing, stand up some maps very quickly, and then shut down that Kubernetes instance so that you're not sucking up resources. So a lot of the again, kind of ArcGIS notebooks and other DevOps tools that are out there to help administer ArcGIS Enterprise. Next one from ArcGIS blog, spatial analysis in Azure Synapse Analytics with ArcGIS GeoAnalytics Engine. So I went to a couple of sessions around spatial analysis and specifically big data analytics. This blog kind of plays into that and is all about that. So Esri partnered with Microsoft to showcase how cross-industry use cases involving big data can be analyzed and integrated with ArcGIS GeoAnalytics Engine and the Azure Synapse Analytics, a cloud-based analytics service. So GeoAnalytics Engine delivers a Spark native solution for spatial big data analytics by providing a comprehensive library of cloud native spatial functions and analysis tools that can be used wherever the data lives. Essentially the idea is you've got these data lakes, like the Azure data lake, where the data is living in a cloud environment somewhere. And you don't want to bring all that data into ArcGIS to do some spatial analysis. So using this ArcGIS GeoAnalytics engine, you can bring these Spark jobs into this optimized big data cluster so that you're running analysis directly next to that data lake. And so this GeoAnalytics engine in this instance here can run in the kind of Azure Synapse Analytics platform. So I was new, or it was new to me what Azure Synapse was. So I wasn't entirely aware of what this whole platform does. But essentially, it's an enterprise analytics service that accelerates time to insight across data warehouses and big data systems. The Azure Synapse brings together the best of SQL and enterprise data warehousing, Spark technologies for big data, kind of a data explorer, time series, and pipelines to ETL data, as well as integration with their other applications from Microsoft, Power BI, Cosmos DB, and Azure ML. So it's essentially this whole analytics suite that includes the data warehouse or cloud data environment, as well as the ability to run spatial analysis or analytics in general, do very fast SQL queries against that data. So this is Microsoft's solution to kind of end-to-end big data management, storage, analysis, querying, dashboarding, Power BI. So very interesting to see how little geoprocessing tools have evolved into these optimized solutions for big data environments. So those were the articles that I had for this week. Let's jump into our Mappy meme of the week. Comes from Nicholas Dugan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But we can see here, this guy uses QGIS instead of ArcGIS. Nobody cares. It's just a GIS. So I'm pretty much in the same boat. I mean, for me, sometimes QGIS is good for certain things. Sometimes ArcGIS is good for other things. It just really depends. But the fact that more and more folks are being exposed to GIS and thinking spatially, I think it's good for the industry as a whole. So we'll go ahead and like and retweet this here. Thanks again for watching this episode of MetaMapping. Be sure to check out all of our shorts and the previous episodes of MetaMapping. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, be sure to check out some of our previous NFT projects. Project Meta Expedition, where we focused on creating different NFT maps for the world, which we can see here, as well as our most recent NFT project, City Maps Collection. Again, be sure to check these out, and stay tuned for more information on these NFT projects as we move forward. So this has been another episode of MetaMapping. Thanks again, everyone, for watching this episode. And as always, stay mappy, my friends.